Members of the Senate and guests will please rise as we receive our distinguished president.
The Senate will please come to order. Members and guests will remain standing while we're led in our devotion by the chaplain, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Chaplain?
From 1 Kings, we read that after hearing Jezebel's message, Elijah was afraid and ran for his life. "I have had enough, Lord," he said, from 1 Kings chapter 19, from verses 3 and 4. Good friends, please bow with me as we pray. Truly, O God, we too now and then experience moments of feeling overwhelmed, unsettled, unsure of what is ahead for us. And as the world was for Elijah, it sometimes is for us too. The pressures of the day wear us down while the world around us appears to spin out of control. So we once more turn to you, dear Lord, calling upon you to ease our frustrations as we all do our best to make our way through challenges great and small. To that end, O God, in particular, do we urge you to bless each of these hardworking senators and their staff members. Grant them new resolve as they faithfully tackle the many tasks which need to be completed here during this legislative term. All this we humbly pray in your loving name, dear Lord. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated. Senator from Cherokee, what purpose do you rise, sir?
Mr. President, I'd request a call of the Senate.
Call of the Senate has been requested and is ordered. I'd ask the clerk to please ring the bell of the Senate. Senator from Greenville, Senator Turner, what purpose do you rise, sir?
Unanimous consent.
State your request.
Leave for the senator from Anderson, Senator Gambrell.
Without objection, Senator Gambrell has leave. Senator from Spartanburg, Senator Martin, what purpose do you rise, sir?
Unanimous consent request.
State your request, sir.
Leave for the senator from Colleton, Senator Matthews, for the balance of the day.
For the day. Without objection, Senator from Colleton, Senator Matthews also has leave. Quorum of the Senate call has been ordered. The reading clerk will call the roll of the Senate. Please record your presence.
Mr. Adams. Absent. Mr. Alexander. Present. Mr. Allen. Absent. Mr. Bennett. Absent Mr. Blackman. Absent Mr. Campson. Absent Mr. Cash. Absent Mr. Chaplin. Absent Mr. Clymer. Absent Mr. Corbin. Absent Mr. Cromer. Absent Mr. Davis. Absent Mrs. Devine. Mrs. Devine is present. Mr. Elliott. Absent Mr. Fernandez. Absent Mr. Gambrell has leave. Mr. Garrett. Absent Mr. Goldfinch. Absent Mr. Graham. Absent Mr. Grooms. Absent Mr. Hembry is present. Mr. Hutto. Absent Mr. Jackson, present. Mr. Johnson, present. Mr. Kennedy, present. Mr. Kimbrell, present. Mr. Lieber, present. Mr. Martin is present. Mr. Massey, absent. Mrs. Matthews has leave. Mr. Nutt, absent. Mr. Ott, absent. Mr. Peeler is present. Mr. Rankin, absent. Mr. Rickenbaugh is present. Mr. Rice is present. Mr. Sapp, absent. Mr. Stubbs is present. Mr. Sutton is present. Mr. Tedder, absent. Mr. Turner is present. Mr. Verdon is present. Mr. Walker is present. Mr. Williams, present. Mr. Young is present. Mr. Zell is present.
Have all senators answered the roll? Senator Graham is present. Senator Massey is present. Senator Hutto is present. Senator Bennett is present. Senator Clymer is present. Senator Sabb is present. Senator Allen is present. Senator Nutt is present. Senator Adams is present. Further members wishing to record your presence. Senator Ott is present. Senator Blackman is present. Senator Cash is present. Final call. Senator Cromer is present. Senator Goldfinch is present. Senator Corbin is present. Final call. Have all members recorded your presence? The polls are closed. I'd ask the clerk to please tabulate. We have 35 members present. A quorum is present. Senator from Richland, Senator Jackson, what purpose do you ask?
Mr. President, I have a unanimous consent request
State your request.
to distribute some materials on the desk.
Without objection. Is there objection? Hearing none. So ordered. Material will be distributed to the member's desk. Thank you, Senator from Richland. Senator from Spartanburg, Senator Kimbrell, what purpose do you rise, sir?
Purposes of an introduction.
You are recognized for introduction. Senator from Spartanburg, Senator Kimbrell.
Thank you, Mr. President. I've asked Senator Turner from Greenville to come up as well, and if other Senator from Greenville's here, Senator Elliott, he joined me at the podium as well. I don't see him in the chamber yet. We have in the audience up here to the left-hand side of the balcony, we have some special guests. The Prince of Peace Catholic School is here today. We have the 3rd and 4th grade classes. They're learning about state government today, and we have a big group taking up a good bit of the audience. So we did a good tour. They got to come in the chamber before we got over here earlier. Kristen Cannon is here. She's one of the teachers there. Her husband, Dr. Matt Cannon, is a good friend of mine. He's the dean of the VCOM Medical School in Spartanburg. Their daughter, Kate, is here. Kate, where are you? Stand up, Kate. Where are you, Kate? She's over here. Hey, there she is. They're all over the place up here. So Kate is here. Kristen, stand up. She's one of the teachers there. All the teachers from Prince of Peace, if y'all would stand. We got a number of teachers. It's a great school, 3rd and 4th grade class here, big class. I think they're in your district, actually, Senator Elliott. So you may want to say something in a moment. Great group of kids, and of course, this is Holy Week, so they came down to see us here during Easter week. All of them have just been incredibly well behaved, did a wonderful tour of the State House today. We're thankful that they're here. So please give them a warm welcome. And before they stand and are recognized, Senator, would you like to say something since I believe they're in Taylor's?
Senator from Greenville, Senator Elliott's recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. Welcome you all here. This is a beautiful building. I know, and even on your week off, hopefully that you're enjoying this. And when you grow up, I know you're all doing well. I hope one day that I'll see at least one of you elected to the South Carolina Senate, and you'll be down here. And I'll be up there watching you at that time. Thank you for being here.
Welcome to the Senate. Please stand to be recognized. We're delighted to have y'all with us today. Enjoy your time here at the State Senate.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator from Spartanburg. Thank you. Senator from Aikens, what purpose do you rise, sir?
In introduction.
You're recognized for introduction. Senator from Aiken.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have several more senators that are going to join me here at the podium. Today, we are really proud and honored to recognize and welcome to the Senate the dedicated members of the South Carolina Network of Children's Advocacy Centers and the representatives from those children advocacy centers from across our state. These centers play a critical role in supporting children who are the victims of child abuse and their families, and the centers ensure that they receive the care, protection, and justice that they deserve. Now, for those of you that may not know, there are 31 child advocacy centers in South Carolina, and they serve the children and families in all 46 counties as part of the South Carolina Child Abuse Response Protocol Act. These child advocacy centers offer a full range of services under one roof. Those services include therapy, medical exams, courtroom preparation, victim advocacy, case management, and more. This coordinated approach reduces trauma and helps children and their families begin the healing process. And in the past year alone, the child advocacy centers across the state, the 31 of those, have served 13,788 children. That's 13,788 children who have experienced some type of abuse, who have needed the services of these centers. So each one of these children and their families receive the support that they need in these places where the people care. We are grateful for the tireless work that the Child Advocacy Centers do across South Carolina, and we want to welcome you to the State Senate and tell you how much we appreciate the work that you do for South Carolina and the children of our state and their families. Thank you very much.
Senator from Senator from Florence, Senator Rickenbach, I think, is part of the...
Yeah, thank you, Mr. President. At this morning's press conference to celebrate this 14th annual Child Advocacy Center Day, I had an opportunity to talk to many of the workers, and I would be remiss if I didn't take a moment to not only thank you from the 31 centers, but to thank you for your families, thank you for the support you've done. With 1 out of every 10 children being a victim of abuse and as an adolescent, it isn't lost on us that when you go home at night, the majority of you have children of your own. And to try to separate what you go through and what the stories you hear, the trauma you deal with, and to listen to that every day, and then to go home at night and to hug your own children and to put them to bed, and to realize that the division between those who are affected and those that are not is such a small chasm. Not only do you have our gratitude, but personally, I pray for you, and I pray that those of us who believe in prayer that as you go home and have to deal with what you hear each and every day, that those of us who believe in prayer, pray for you and pray for your family. So thank you for what you do. Thank you, Mr. President.
Welcome to the Senate. We're delighted to have you visiting today, and thank you for what you do across the great state of South Carolina. Thank you, Senator from Aiken and Senator from Florence and the others. Senator from Florence, what purpose do you rise, sir?
For the purposes of an introduction.
You're recognized for introduction. Senator from Florence.
If the senator from Darlington County would join me as well, too. Mr. President, I'd like to take a second to introduce Mr. Anthony Bell. He's the school resource officer from Lee Central High School, which is in Lee County, and he has with him today the students from the Lee Central High School Criminal Justice Club Talking Points. I've got the senator from Darlington with me as well today because Lee County or Lee Central High School is currently in his district, but I've known Mr. Bell for a lot of years. When we had an opportunity to talk with these students this morning, a couple of them were up here, and their goal is to learn more about the criminal justice system. And I had the pleasure of talking with them, but one young lady up there so poignantly mentioned that it is a crazy time in our world, and it's a crazy time for young people. And it's important that young people, that's right, it was you, and I listened to you. It's important that young people understand the importance of criminal justice and how people's lives are affected by either leaning into criminal justice or not understanding what goes on. And I want to thank you for being here. Senator, anything? Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Welcome to the Senate. We're delighted to have y'all visiting with us today. Thank you so much for your service. Grateful to you. Thank you, Senators. Are there any petitions, memorials, presentments of grand jury, or such like papers? The reading clerk will please read.
Message from the governor, Mr. President, members of the Senate. I'm transmitting herewith the following appointments for confirmation. These appointments are made with advice and consent of the Senate and therefore submitted for your consideration. Statewide appointment, member of the Commission for Minority Affairs, 3rd Congressional District, Mr. Kenneth S. Sloan of Anderson. He has an initial and reappointment.
These appointments will be referred to the Judiciary Committee.
Statewide appointment, member of the State Board of Pharmacy, 5th Congressional District, Mr. Larry N. Meek of Rock Hill.
This appointment nomination will be referred to the Medical Affairs Committee.
Statewide appointment, reappointment of a member of the Human Affairs Commission, 1st Congressional District, Ms. Mary M. Amaniti of Hilton Head.
This nomination is referred to the Judiciary Committee.
For the reappointment of a member to the Human Affairs Commission from the 6th Congressional District, Ms. Sharon L. Sellers of Santee.
The nominee will be referred to the Judiciary Committee. We have no further communications. Therefore, we're on the introduction of new bills and resolutions. I would ask the reading clerk to please read.
Introduction of a bill by Senator Verdon that adds a section to the code so as to provide for a tax credit for renewable natural gas.
The bill is referred to the Finance Committee.
Introduction of a Senate resolution by Senator Hutter to recognize June 2025 as South Carolina Trails Month in South Carolina to encourage residents to take advantage of the abundance of trails in the state and enjoy the health, learning, and social benefits that can be derived from their use.
The resolution is referred to Fish, Game, and Forestry.
Introduction of a Senate resolution by Senator Sutton to congratulate the South Carolina Aquarium upon the occasion of its 25th anniversary and to recognize May 19, 2025 as South Carolina Aquarium Day in South Carolina.
Senator from Charleston, Senator Sutton, what purpose do you rise, sir?
Yes, sir. Unanimous consent request for immediate consideration for the resolution that was just read.
Unanimous consent request that the Senate resolution be given immediate consideration by the Senate. Is there objection to that request? Hearing no objection, so ordered. Before us then is the adoption of the Senate resolution to congratulate the South Carolina Aquarium upon the occasion of its 25th anniversary. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Ayes have it. The resolution is adopted. Reading clerk will please continue to read.
Introduction of a Senate resolution by Senator Hutter to recognize and commend the significant economic and community contributions of the BMW manufacturing plant located in Greer, South Carolina, and to extend a formal invitation to the President of the United States to visit the plant and witness firsthand its impact on the Palmetto State and the nation.
Senator from Orangeburg, Senator Hutto, what purpose do you rise?
Be recognized on the resolution.
You're recognized on your resolution.
Members, thank you very much. I wanted to take this opportunity to remind us all that we are senators of the state of South Carolina. And while y'all might refer to me as the senator from Orangeburg, and I represent Orangeburg, and I do so proudly, when somebody does something that affects the entire state, I think it's important that we say something about it. You know, I've been here long enough to know that as we need to do this because we've got to get BMW. Well, I'm in Orangeburg and I'm thinking, what's that got to do with Orangeburg? The point is, it helped our state. Boeing, we've got to do something. We really got to recruit Boeing. What's that got to do with Orangeburg? Well, if you vote for this, one day we're going to do something for your county, but we got to do what's best for the state of South Carolina. So last week when I heard that some in the administration referred to BMW as a scam and said that the BMW model was not good for South Carolina, I went back and looked at the statistics. Tens of thousands of South Carolinians are now employed because BMW is located in Greer. Multiple businesses in the supply chain for BMW are located right here in South Carolina. And so when I heard the criticism coming out of Washington, it just dawned on me, maybe they don't know what they're talking about, and maybe they should come down here and take a look. Well, if what they needed was an invitation, I wanted to extend that to them. So this is a resolution, first of all, to recognize BMW for the incredible work that they've done for the state of South Carolina, particularly upstate. But look, there are businesses in Orangeburg in the BMW supply chain. Would not have happened if we had not invested in them early on. Same thing for Boeing, same thing for Michelin, same thing for some of the other big investments we've got. So I wasn't going to stand idly by and let criticism of BMW, and I'm obviously not from the upstate. Probably if I was, I couldn't get elected. But the point is, BMW is a jewel for South Carolina. It's not a scam. And if people in Washington don't understand that, I invite them to come down here and take a look for what BMW has done for us.
Thank you, Senator. The resolution is referred to the Labor, Commerce, and Industry Committee. Reading clerk will continue to read.
Introduction of a concurrent resolution by Senator Ricky Baugh. It requests the Department of Transportation name a portion of River Road and Pine Street at the intersection of Shirley Road in Florence County, Billy Edie Road, erect appropriate signs and markers.
The resolution is referred to the Transportation Committee. Senator from Aiken, what purpose do you ask, sir?
I have an announcement for the body.
You're recognized for an announcement. So it will be treated as a point of personal interest up to 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just wanted the body to know that the governor's nominee to lead the Department of Social Services, the acting director, is Tony Catone, and he is here in the antechamber and ready to talk with any members who may want to talk with him today. He's out there now. Thank you.
The Senate is so informed. Thank you, Senator. Mr. Chairman. Senator from Richland, Senator Devine, what purpose do you rise, ma'am?
For the purposes of an introduction.
You're recognized for introduction. Senator from Richland, Senator Devine.
Thank you, Mr. President. To the members of the Senate, today is Peace, Harmony, and Wellness Day here at the Senate.
Senator Spartanburg, Senator Martin, what purpose do you ask? I would ask that the Senate be in order.
Maybe ask the sergeant to close some of these doors, please.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Maybe. Thank you. Thank you, Senator Spartanburg. Senator from Richland, Senator Devine, continues to be recognized for introduction.
Thank you, and thank you, Senator from Spartanburg. Today, ladies and gentlemen, we recognize Peace, Harmony, and Wellness Day here in the State Senate. And as part of that, we recognize a remarkable individual whose dedication and innovation have elevated the practice of occupational therapy, not only here in South Carolina, but across the world. Hema Dalil is a board-certified occupational therapist, educator, and integrative health pioneer whose career spans over 4 decades. She was born and raised in India and earned her degree in occupational therapy from Mumbai University. After launching a successful practice overseas, she brought her expertise to the United States, where she contributed to groundbreaking breast cancer rehabilitation research. And here in Lexington, South Carolina, she founded the Vital Energy Wellness and Rehab Center, introducing holistic and integrative therapies to the Midlands long before it became mainstream. She has helped thousands of patients regain their independence, reduce chronic pain, and exceed goals they once thought unreachable. Her practice is rooted in the belief that healing occurs at the intersection of movement, science, and energy. Beyond the clinic, she has been a tireless advocate for her profession. She's a board member and medical liaison for the South Carolina Department of Labor Licensing Regulation for Occupational Therapy, and a regular guest on multiple media outlets to talk about the benefits. Today is, again, Peace, Harmony, and Wellness Day, and we have a resolution, and I'd ask if the clerk would publish the title of the resolution.
Reading clerk will read the title.
Senate resolution to encourage public awareness about the continuing benefits and value of meditation, integrative occupational therapy, and self-care, and to declare April 15, 2025 as Peace, Harmony, and Wellness Day in South Carolina.
Senator from Richland, Senator Devine.
Thank you. So on this Integrative Occupational Therapy Day and Peace and Meditation Day in South Carolina, we are proud to honor Hema Dalal for her lifelong commitment to healing, teaching, and advancing the field of occupational therapy. And we thank her so much for continuing to bring this to our attention every year. As senators, I think sometimes we don't realize how stressful our lives are. We have families, we have careers, and we are representing the citizens of South Carolina. And if anybody needs peace, harmony, and wellness and meditation, it is us here in the Senate. So if you all would join me in welcoming and honoring Hema here today.
Welcome to the Senate. Thank you for your service. We are grateful to you. Welcome. Good to see you again. Thank you. Thank you. Senator from Richland, Senator Devine.
And Mr. President, I'd be remiss if I didn't say that with HEMA today is the former senator from Richland, Mia McLeod.
Welcome. Welcome. Good to see you today. Thank you for being here. Thank you, Senator from Richland. The reading clerk will continue to read.
Introduction of House Bill 3924. It's a bill amending the code so as to regulate the sale of hemp-derived consumables, among other things.
This bill will be referred to the Agricultural and Natural Resources Committee.
Introduction of House Bill 3930, bill to enact the Second Amendment Financial Privacy Act by adding an article to the code so as to find certain terms to provide under certain circumstances no government entity shall knowingly keep a record of privately owned firearms or their owners and provide penalties for violations.
This bill is referred to the Judiciary Committee.
Introduction of House Bill 3276. This bill enacts the South Carolina Hands-Free Distracted Driving Act. It amends a code relating to unlawful use of wireless electronic communication devices while operating a motor vehicle.
This bill is referred to the Transportation Committee.
Introduction of House Bill 3127. This bill amends a code relating to failure to stop motor vehicles when signaled by law enforcement vehicles so as to provide that where certain aggravating circumstances occur, the offender is guilty of a felony and provide penalties.
The bill is referred to the Judiciary Committee.
Introduction of H 4187. This bill, it amends, is to extend the 1% sales tax imposed by an act, as amended, the Lexington County School District Property Tax Relief Act for an additional 7 years.
The bill is placed on the local calendar. Senator from Calhoun, what purpose do you rise, sir?
Thank you, Mr. President. Rise for an announcement. Unanimous consent for an announcement.
Yes, sir. You're without objection.
Thank you, Mr. President. Ladies and gentlemen, it has come to my attention that we have someone here in the body that is celebrating a birthday today. And so I just wanted to let everyone know that our illustrious reading clerk is celebrating a birthday today. As you all know, John Winge is a friend to all. He is a lover of the red clay strays. He spends his time on the telephone while riding around in his truck. And so, John, you mean the world to us. Thank you for all that you do for the Senate, and we wish you a very happy birthday.
Happy birthday. We congratulate you. The Senate is so informed. Thank you, Senator. The Senate would be informed that he's working on his birthday. Senator from Spartanburg, Senator Martin, what purpose do you rise?
Unanimous consent request.
State your request.
That the senator from Calhoun not be allowed to sing.
Without objection, I think that is considered. Senator, thank you. The reading clerk will continue to read.
Introduction of H 4348, a concurrent resolution to fix 11 o'clock on May 1st, 2025 as a time to elect members of the Public Service Commission from the 2nd, 4th, 6th congressional districts whose terms expire June 30th, 2026.
Senator from Orangeburg, Senator Hutto, what purpose do you rise?
I rise to ask immediate consideration, and let me explain why. This is the House resolution that sets the date and the time for the election of the Public Service Commission for the 2nd, 4th, and 6th congressional districts is May 1st. Those seats are currently in a holdover status, and we are on track to do the screening and have those elections this year. The House has agreed to May the 1st, so I'd ask for immediate consideration of the resolution.
Is there objection to the immediate consideration of the concurrent resolution? Hearing no objection, so ordered. Before us now is the adoption of the concurrent resolution that will set May 1st as the time to elect those members of the Public Service Commission. All those in favor of the joint assembly would please say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the concurrent resolution is adopted by the Senate. Thank you, Senator from Orangeburg. Senator Hutto. Senator from Greenville, Senator Turner. What purpose do you rise, sir?
Unanimous consent.
State your request.
Permission to pass out some material to the body.
Is there objection? Hearing no objection, material will be distributed to the body by the Senator from Greenville, Senator Turner. Reading clerk will continue to read.
The Medical Affairs Committee has reported favorable with amendments on S-146, a bill by Senator Nutt. It amends the code relating to the rights of residents of long-term care facilities so as to provide that residents may designate one person who is permitted to visit the resident in the event the access to the facility is limited or prohibited due to the declared emergency.
The bill will be placed on the calendar.
Medical Affairs Committee reports favorable with amendments on S-221, bill by Senator Ott, enacting the South Carolina Kratom Consumer Protection Act. It amends the code so as to provide for the regulation and sale of kratom products by retailers and processors and to create penalties.
The bill is placed on the calendar.
Family and Veteran Services Committee reports favorable on H-3563. This bill amends the code relating to county Veterans Affairs officers so as to provide that the secretary shall evaluate each county Veterans Affairs office no less than once per year. Agriculture and Natural Resources Committee reports favorable on S-526, bill by Senator Goldfinch, amending the code relating to beach preservation appeals, policies, and procedures so as to stay any enforcement action during the pendency of the appeal and provide that the agency will be responsible for the attorney's fees and costs to the appellant if the administrative law judge reverses the decision of the agency.
The previous bill, H-3563, is placed on the calendar. This bill is also placed on the calendar. The reading clerk will continue to read.
The Agricultural and Natural Resources Committee has reported favorable on a statewide appointment. Agency Director of the Department of Environmental Services, Ms. Myra C. Reese of Columbia.
Received as information.
The Darlington County Delegation has reported favorable on the appointment of a Darlington County Magistrate. Initial appointment of Ms. Melissa G. Birch of Society Hill.
The pending question is the confirmation of the Darlington County Magistrate. All those in favor would say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The individual is confirmed for Darlington County Magistrate. Reading clerk will continue to read.
Spartanburg County Delegation has reported favorable on the appointment of a Spartanburg County Magistrate, Mr. Matthew B. Davis of Spartanburg.
Before us is a Spartanburg County Magistrate. Question is confirmation. All of those in favor would please say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The individual is confirmed for Spartanburg County Magistrate. Reading clerk will please continue to read.
Kershaw County Delegation has reported favorable on the reappointment of the Kershaw County Master in Equity, the Honorable William B. Cox, Jr. of Camden.
The pending question is confirmation of the Master in Equity for Kershaw County. All those in favor would please say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The individual is confirmed for the Kershaw County Master in Equity. Reading clerk will continue to read, please.
Agriculture and Natural Resources Committee has reported favorable with amendments on H 4211. It's a concurrent resolution to recognize the essential value and importance of South Carolina native plants to the state's environment, landscape, agricultural history, and economy, and to encourage state agencies, local governments, and private landowners to use native plants for landscaping, erosion control, and vegetation management.
The bill will be placed on the calendar. The resolution. The desk is clear. Senator from Beaufort, what purpose do you rise, sir? State your request, sir.
Mr. President, in perfunctory session last Thursday, House Bill 3333 was read across the desk and referred to committee. It is identical to a bill unanimously passed by the Senate, S-190, relating to the use of tax increment financing funds and the redevelopment of federal military installations. Unanimous consent request is that House Bill 3333 be placed on the second reading calendar. It was referred to Labor, Commerce, and Industry Committee, my committee.
Is there objection to the unanimous consent request that discharged from Labor, Commerce, and Industry is House Bill 3333 and be placed on the calendar? Is there objection to that unanimous consent request? Hearing no objection, so ordered. It will be placed on the calendar. The desk is clear. Are there any requests for local bills? Any request? Senator from Charleston, Senator Campson, what purpose do you rise, sir?
Request for a local bill that is discharged from the Charleston delegation is 4014, dealing with eliminating the constituent school boards in Charleston County, and place it on the calendar.
The motion is to recall from the Charleston County delegation House Bill 4014 and place it on the calendar. All those in favor of that motion would please say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The bill is placed on the calendar.
Mr. President.
Senator from Charleston, Senator Campson. What
request for immediate consideration.
Motion is second reading.
Second reading.
Motion is second reading of House Bill 4014, that is local bill from Charleston County. All those in favor would say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it. House Bill 4014 receives a second reading of the Senate. Are there further requests for local bills? We're on the local calendar. Are there further requests? Senator from Lancaster, what purpose do you rise, sir?
Unanimous consent, Mr. President.
State your request.
It was read across, and I didn't catch the House bill number about changing the precincts in Lancaster County. And although that's not considered local, it is local. It only affects Lancaster County, but since it's implemented by state legislation, I know that's not a local issue. Could we get unanimous consent to move that for second reading?
Can we stand at ease momentarily?
Sir.
Or do you want to? Would you let us come back to that?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. We need Final call. Are there any other requests for local bills? Hearing no request, that takes us to our statewide calendar, third reading. First bill for consideration is on page 6. Page 6. S-12 by the senator from Horry, Senator Rankin, and the senator from Berkeley, Senator Grooms. Reading clerk will please read.
It's a bill which adds a section to the code so as to authorize the Public Service Authority to jointly own as tenants in common or through a limited liability company with investor-owned utilities, electrical generation, and transmission facilities.
Question is, third reading of S-12 on page 6. All those in favor would please say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. S-12 receives a third reading. Members of the Senate, we now go to second reading, statewide, uncontested. It takes us to page 17. Page 17 on the calendar, middle of the page, H3654. The reading clerk will please read.
It's a bill which amends two sections of the code, both relating to the confidentiality of child welfare records and information, so as to authorize disclosure of case records to county and state guardian ad litem program staff and to the state child advocate.
Explanation's been requested. Page 17, H3654. He's right there. Well, he's right there. Senator from Horry, Senator from Aiken. What purpose do you rise, sir?
I was looking for the subcommittee chair, but I'm going to go ahead and provide an explanation for this one.
You're recognized for explanation of H3654 on page 17.
This is a bill that amends the current law to state that an appointed guardian ad litem may share reports and information collected with the county's guardian ad litem program staff, the guardian ad litem division, and the state child advocate. It further makes amendments to state that for the Department of Children Advocacy, funds for the division director, staff, and other purposes of this division must be provided for in the Annual General Appropriations Act. In addition, the Continuum of Care Division shall submit an annual report to the Governor and General Assembly through the Department of Children's Advocacy.
Question is, second reading of H3654. Roll call is required. Clerk will please ring the bell for second reading. Ask the reading clerk to call the roll on second reading of H3654 on page 17. Senator from Richland, Senator Devine, what purpose do you rise, ma'am?
Unanimous consent request.
State your request.
For leave for the senator from Charleston, Senator Tedder, for the balance of the day.
For the balance of the day, Senator from Charleston, Senator Tedder has leave. Reading clerk will now call the roll of the Senate.
Mr. Adams. Aye. Mr. Alexander. Aye. Mr. Allen. Aye. Mr. Bennett. Aye. Mr. Blackman. Aye. Mr. Campson. Aye. Mr. Cash. Aye. Mr. Chaplin. Aye. Mr. Clymer. Aye. Mr. Corbin. Aye. Mr. Cromer. Aye. Mr. Davis. Aye. Mrs. Devine. Aye. Mr. Elliott. Aye. Mr. Fernandez. Not voting, Mr. Gambrell has leave. Mr. Garrett votes aye. Mr. Goldfinch. Aye. Mr. Graham. Aye. Mr. Grooms. Aye. Mr. Hembry. Aye. Mr. Hutto. Aye. Mr. Jackson. Aye. Mr. Johnson. Aye. Mr. Kennedy. Aye. Mr. Kimbrell. Aye. Mr. Lieber. Aye. Mr. Martin. Aye. Mr. Massey. Aye. Mrs. Matthews has leave. Mr. Nutt. Aye. Mr. Ott. Aye. Mr. Peeler. Aye. Mr. Rankin. Aye. Mr. Rickenbaugh. Aye. Mr. Rice. Aye. Mr. Sabb. Aye. Mr. Stubbs. Aye. Mr. Sutton. Aye. Mr. Tedder has leave. Mr. Turner. Aye. Mr. Verdon. Aye. Mr. Walker. Not voting, Mr. Williams. Aye. Mr. Young. Aye. Mr. Zell. Aye.
Have all senators recorded your vote on second reading? Final call. The polls are closed. The clerk will tabulate. By a vote of 41-0, H. 3654 receives a second reading of the Senate. Members, we now turn to page 18, bottom of the page. Senator from Florence, what purpose do you rise, sir?
To introduce the Doctor of the Day, Mr. President.
You're recognized for introduction. Senator from Florence.
Thank you, Mr. President. Along with the other three members, including 2 members of the Florence County Legislative Delegation, it's an honor and a privilege to introduce Dr. Stephen Imbo. Usually I need the card here, although it does say he's from Richland County. I have to cross this off because he's a Florentine in our heart and in our minds. Dr. Imbo was a member of the Florence Rotary Club with me for at least the 20 years we've been in Florence almost, and certainly many years before that. And he's allergy and immunology is a specialty, but has been a fixture. He and his lovely, lovely wife, a fixture in Florence for so many years. We haven't lost him to Richland County. I believe he's bifurcating a little bit and spending some time in Richland County. Anyone add?
Yeah. Okay. Senator from Marion.
Thank you, Mr. President. I do want to join the senator from Florence to welcome the doctor of the day, a dear friend of mine who was my doctor for many years, my allergy doctor, and who I've grown to really know and respect. And we just appreciate him, and he's still part of the great PD, Florence, and we're just glad to see him and have him here today. And if you have anything that ails you, all you need to do is go see Dr. Imbo, and he'll take real good care of you. Thank you.
Welcome to the Senate. Thank you for your service as Doctor of the Day. Thank you so much. Thank you, Senator from Florence. Senator from Aiken, what purpose do you rise, sir?
Unanimous consent request.
State your request.
Unanimous consent to distribute material to the body.
Is there objection to the unanimous consent request by the Senator from Aiken to distribute material to the body. Hearing no objection, so ordered, that material will be distributed. We continue on second reading, uncontested, page 18, bottom of the page, S463 by the senator from Berkeley, Senator Grooms. Reading clerk will please read.
This is a bill amending the code related to restrictions on swimming near public landings or lakes or reservoirs owned or maintained by an investor-owned utility, so as to provide for restrictions on swimming near public boat landings on lakes or reservoirs owned or maintained by the South Carolina Public Service Authority.
Senator from Charleston, Senator Campson, what purpose do you rise?
To explain the bill.
You're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. What this bill, under current law, it's unlawful to swim at a boat landing in a reservoir maintained by the investor-owned utilities. And what this bill would do is extend that to reservoirs controlled by Santee Cooper. So it would add Lake Marion and Lake Moultrie to that list. Treat them the same way, reservoirs controlled by investor-owned utilities, the same rule.
Senator from Spartanburg, Senator Martin, what purpose do you rise, sir?
See if the senator from Charleston will yield for a question.
Senator, yield for a question?
I'll yield.
Senator, yield for a question.
Senator, since it's impacting those two lakes, I'm going to have to make a couple of calls if you don't mind. Don't mind carrying this over. Or I'm a little bit concerned about that.
Sure, we can carry that over.
Or at least carry it over to the, well, if you don't mind carrying it over, I'd appreciate it.
No, I don't mind. Thank you. Move to carry over.
Senator from Charleston, Senator Campson, that had the floor, makes the motion to carry over S463. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The bill's carried over. We now go to the top of page 19. Page 19, top of the page, H3813. We have an amendment on the desk. The reading clerk will please publish the amendment.
The amendment is by Senator Ott. It amends the bill, Section 1. It strikes Section 5011-430, subsection A, Item 1, and inserts Item 1, open season of hunting and taking bear in Game Zone 1 for party dog hunts is October 17th through October 23rd.
Senator from Calhoun, what purpose do you rise, sir?
Amendment.
You're recognized on your amendment.
Thank you, Mr. President. Ladies and gentlemen, good bill that was brought before the committee. Certainly wanted to reassure the senator from Greenville, I think, that my district does not include into the upstate, but I appreciate his indulgence on working with me on this amendment, as do I appreciate the chairman of Fish, Game, and Forestry for working with me, and DNR, Mr. President. But ladies and gentlemen, the original bill would have taken the current seasons for bear in Game Zone 1. Right now, there's 1 week of still hunting, and then there is 1 separate week of dog hunting. The proposed bill would have taken it to 1 week of still hunting only, and then the second week would have been a combination of still hunting and dog hunting together. The amendment is simply to try to continue to keep dog hunting and still hunting separate and distinct, but also acknowledge the fact that we've got a lot of bears in the upstate and that we need to extend the opportunities to the hunters. So what this amendment does is it gives 1 week of dog hunting and dog hunting only, and then 2 weeks independently of still hunting, which is going to be 1 additional week of bear hunting, which we think will accomplish the taking of more bears. It will allow the dog hunters to go first, which is a benefit to them, but it also keeps the 2 separate, which I think is a good thing for bear hunting in the upstate. So appreciate all of the parties' willingness to work together on this amendment, and I'm happy to answer any questions that there might be, Mr. President.
Okay. Pending question is the adoption of the amendment. Senator from Marion, what purpose do you rise, sir?
Unanimous consent request.
State your request.
To be added as a co-sponsor to the amendment.
Without objection, Senator from Marion, Senator Williams will be added as a co-sponsor. Question is the adoption of the amendment. All those in favor would please say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The amendment is agreed to. We have no further amendments on H 3813. Second reading on page 9, top of the page. 19, excuse me. Second reading. Under Rule 16, this bill is given a second reading with the appropriate vote being applied. Senator from Spartanburg, Senator Martin, what purpose do you ask?
Before I make a point of order, could I make a unanimous consent request?
State your request.
To go right back to S 463 that the senator from Charleston was explaining, I got my question answered.
The immediate preceding bill. Is there objection? Objection is heard. Senator from Spartanburg, Senator Martin, what purpose do you ask? Okay. We continue on the calendar. Senate Bill 454 by the senator from Horry, Senator Hembry. We have a committee amendment. Reading clerk will publish the committee amendment.
The Education Committee proposes the following amendments of Bill Section 1, strike Section 594040, Item 4, and inserts. Item 4.
Senator from Horry, Senator Hembry, what purpose do you ask, sir?
Move to carry the bill over.
Motion is to carry over S 454. All those in favor of that motion would please say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The bill's carried over. That now takes us to page 21. Page 21 on our calendar. Second reading, uncontested, H 3196. Reading clerk, we have a committee amendment on the bill. Senator from Spartanburg, Senator Martin, what purpose do you ask?
To make a point of order.
State your point, sir.
Under Rule 39, this bill has not been on our calendar the required amount of time.
That point of order is sustained, sir. Senator from Edgefield, what purpose do you rise, sir?
Mr. President, have we completed the uncontested second reading calendar?
We're at the end of the second reading. Yes, sir.
Mr. President, I would move that the Senate proceed to an executive session.
Motion is that we go into executive session. All those in favor would please say aye. Opposed, no. Ayes have it. Sergeant, clear the chamber, please. Senate is in session. Senator from Lancaster, what purpose do you rise, sir?
Unanimous consent request, sir.
State your request.
I would request that we pull House Bill 04307, recall it from the Senate Judiciary.
Unanimous consent request to recall and discharge from the Judiciary Committee House Bill 4307. Objection is heard. Senator from Richland, Senator Devine, what purpose do you rise, ma'am?
Unanimous consent request.
State your request.
To recall from the Committee on Operations and Management S441, resolution authorizing Palmetto Girls State to use the chambers.
Is there objection to discharging and recalling S411 from the O&M Committee for Girls State? Is there objection? Here, no objection. The bill will be placed on the calendar.
They say he's going to try to do away on federal elections only. I didn't think you were going to get to this. I was going to tell you afterwards. But even if he doesn't do that,
We continue on the calendar under concurrent resolutions S534. Senator from Edgefield, what purpose do you rise, sir?
Move to carry over.
Motion is to carry over S534. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The resolution is carried over. That completes the call of the uncontested calendar. We're now in the motion period. Senator from Edgefield, what purpose do you rise, sir?
To make a motion.
You're recognized.
Mr. President, I move to adjourn debate on S534 until Monday, April 21.
Motion is to adjourn debate on S534 until this coming Monday.
Yes, sir.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it. That motion is adopted by the Senate. Senator from Edgefield.
Mr. President, I move that S534 be the unfinished business of the Senate at the conclusion of the meeting of the Committee of the Whole on April 21st.
Motion is that S534 be the unfinished business of the Senate at the conclusion of the work of the Committee on the Whole. All those in favor, please say aye. Opposed, no. Ayes have it. So ordered.
Mr. President.
Senator from Edgefield.
Mr. President, at the completion of the Committee of the Whole on April 21st, I move that the Treasurer and his legal team be permitted to remain on the Senate floor behind the rail.
All those in favor of the motion would please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Ayes have it. So ordered.
Mr. President.
Senator from Edgefield.
Mr. President, I move that during the Committee on the Whole that staff be permitted to sit on the floor with the Senate presenters or with the Treasurer and his legal team.
All those in favor of the motion would please say aye. Opposed, no. Ayes have it.
Mr. President.
Senator from Edgefield.
Mr. President, H 3497 is the House bill dealing with tort reform. I move pursuant to Rule 32B that we bring that bill up for debate.
All those in favor under 32B, H 3497 would say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Ayes have it. So ordered.
Mr. President,
Senator from Edgefield, what purpose do you ask?
I move to dispense with the balance of the motion period.
Motion is to dispense with the balance of the motion period. All those in favor would please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Ayes have it. So ordered. The balance of the motion period is dispensed with. Senator from Charleston, Senator Campson, what purpose do you rise, sir?
Mr. President, H 3813 is the boat landing bill that was earlier discussed today. The senator from Orangeburg has an amendment that he would like to place on it. But it's important we give it a second reading today, otherwise we're going to get behind the budget. So I'd ask unanimous consent to give H 3813 that's the wrong bill. Yeah, it's 463, excuse me, on page 18. It's 463, to give that a second reading and carrying over all amendments to third.
Unanimous consent request is to give the bill second reading.
And allow amendments on third.
Give them the second reading today, carrying over amendments to third and allowing new amendments on third.
Yes, sir.
Is there objection to that unanimous consent request regarding S 463 on page 18? Hearing no objection, so ordered. The bill is granted a second reading today. Receives a second reading. Members of the Senate, we now go to, under our categories, bills returned from the House. S 62 by the senator from Horry and others. We have an amendment on the desk. I'd ask the reading clerk to, Senator from Horry, Senator Henry, what purpose?
Mr. President, moved carry over the amendment and the bill.
Motion is to carry over S 62. All those in favor would say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The bill's carried over. Members of the Senate, that takes us to page 12, H 3497. Reading amendments on the desk. Reading clerk will publish the first amendment.
Amendment is by Senator Massey, amends the bill. It strikes all after the enacting words and inserts.
Senator from Edgefield, what purpose do you rise, sir?
To explain the amendment.
You're recognized on your amendment. Senator from Edgefield.
Mr. President, this is the House's version of the tort reform legislation. And the amendment that I have before you now is exactly what the Senate passed a couple weeks ago. This is S-244 as an amendment to the House bill. I move adoption of the amendment.
The pending question is the adoption of the amendment. All those in favor would please say aye. Opposed, no. Ayes have it. The amendment is adopted. Question is second reading. Roll call will be required. Clerk will ring the bell. The question is, second reading of H 3497. The reading clerk will call the roll of the Senate for second reading.
Mr. Adams? Aye. Mr. Alexander? Aye. Mr. Allen? Abstains. Mr. Bennett? Aye. Mr. Blackman? Aye. Mr. Campson? Aye. Mr. Cash? Aye. Mr. Chaplin? Aye. Mr. Clymer? Not voting, Mr. Corbin? Aye. Mr. Cromer? Aye. Mr. Davis? Aye. Mrs. Devine? No. Mr. Elliott? Aye. Mr. Fernandez? Not voting, Mr. Gambrell has leave. Mr. Garrett? Not voting, Mr. Goldfinch? Aye. Mr. Graham? No. Mr. Grooms? Aye. Mr. Hembry? Aye. Mr. Hutto? No. Mr. Jackson? Not voting, Mr. Johnson? Aye. Mr. Kennedy? Aye. Mr. Kimbrell? Aye. Mr. Lieber? Aye. Mr. Martin? Aye. Mr. Massey? Aye. Mrs. Matthews has leave. Mr. Nutt? Aye. Mr. Ott? Aye. Mr. Peeler? Aye. Mr. Rankin? Aye. Mr. Rickenbaugh? Aye. Mr. Rice? Aye. Mr. Sabb? No. Mr. Stubbs? Aye. Mr. Sutton? Aye. Mr. Tedder has leave. Mr. Turner? Aye. Mr. Verdon? Aye. Mr. Walker? Votes no. Mr. Williams? Aye. Mr. Young? Aye. Mr. Zell? Aye.
Have all members voted? Senator Clymer votes aye. Senator Garrett votes aye. Further members wishing to record your vote, second reading of H 3497. Final call. Polls are closed. The clerk will tabulate. Members of the Senate, by a vote of 35 to 5, H 3497 receives a second reading of the Senate. Senator from Beaufort, Senator Davis, what purpose do you rise, sir?
For the purpose of making a motion.
You're recognized.
Mr. President, having voted on the prevailing side, I move that we reconsider the vote whereby we gave S12 third reading.
Motion is all those in favor.
Can't get something over there to them like that.
Explanation's been requested.
Mr. President.
Senator from Beaufort is recognized for explanation.
Thank you, Mr. President. S12 is the so-called skinny energy bill that simply provides authorization to Santee Cooper and Dominion to move forward with a gas plant at Kennedy's. We had passed that bill as a backstop in case we did not pass the larger energy bill that we spent over a week debating. I was not aware that it had not been objected to. I'd objected to it last week, but I did not leave my name on it as an objection. I was unaware that it got third reading. I think in deference to this body and all the work it put in, we ought to have the bill coming out of the Senate being the one we worked over a week on and not just simply this one issue. So that is the reason for my motion that having voted on the prevailing side, I reconsider the vote whereby S2 got third reading.
Pending question.
12.
Is the adoption of the senator from, is that a debate? Senator from Horry, Senator Rankin, what purpose do you rise, sir?
I'm sorry, Mr. President, I was a little distracted. The pending motion is what?
Motion to reconsider third reading of S12. All those.
Mr. President.
Senator from, all those in favor of the motion would please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Vote more generally. All those in favor of the motion would please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Senator from Horry, Senator Rankin.
And now that will, you going to put your name on it?
Senator from Beaufort, desired objection is heard on the bill. Would the Senate please stand at ease momentarily? Page 5. Senate is back in order. Senate is back in order. It takes us to statewide contested legislation. First up is S-183. Senator from Edgefield, what purpose do you rise?
Move to carry over.
Motion is to carry over S-183. All those in favor would say aye. Opposed, no. Ayes have it. The bill is carried over. That now takes us to the top of page 6, S-32, by the senator from Berkeley, Senator Grooms, and others. The reading clerk will please read.
This is a bill amending the code so as to enact the Pregnancy Resource Act, adds a section to the code to provide for a tax credit for voluntary cash contributions made to a pregnancy resource center or crisis pregnancy center, and provide guidelines.
Question is, third reading of the bill. All those in favor would please say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The bill is given a third reading. Senator from Edgefield, what purpose do you rise, sir?
President, I ask unanimous consent return to the box.
Is there objection to the unanimous consent request to return to the box? I hear no objection. So ordered. We are now in the box. I'd ask the reading clerk to please read.
Introduction of a bill by Senator Stubbs and others amending the code relating to the authority of schools to excuse students to attend Veterans Day activities so as to require schools to excuse students to attend such activities.
The bill is referred to the Education Committee.
Introduction of a Senate resolution by Senator Devine to declare May 5th, 2025 as Missing and Murdered Indigenous Women Red Dress Day in South Carolina to honor those who've been lost, those who are still missing, and the families and communities who continue to seek justice.
Referred to the Family and Veteran Services.
Medical Affairs Committee reports favorable on S-54, a bill by Senator Martin and others to enact the Medical Informed Consent Act by adding a section to the code to provide that it's unlawful for any person, corporation, higher learning institution, or the state to implement a vaccine mandate and provide penalties.
This bill is placed on the senator from Spartanburg, Senator Martin. What purpose do you rise, sir?
I just thought we might be voting on that now. I got excited.
It's going to be placed on the calendar. Reading clerk will continue to read.
House is returned to the Senate with amendments S2, bill by Senator Peeler and Alexandra Davis. It amends the code by adding a section so as to establish the Department of Behavioral Health and Developmental Disabilities, provide for its powers, duties, and authority, and provide that the department is comprised of the Office of Intellectual Disabilities, Office of Mental Health, and the Office of Subsistence Abuse Services.
S2 will be placed on the calendar. Reading clerk will continue to read.
Richland County delegation has reported favorable on the appointment of a Richland County magistrate, Mr. Alexandro D. Hartzell of Columbia.
The pending question is confirmation of the individual for the Richland County magistrate. All those in favor would please say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The individual is confirmed for magistrate of Richland County. I'm informed that the desk is clear. Senator from Berkeley, Senator Grooms, what purpose do you ask?
Unanimous consent request.
State your request.
Unanimous consent request to recall from the Senate Transportation Committee Senate Bill 543. It is a road naming bill in Spartanburg County and have the bill placed on the calendar.
Is there objection to the unanimous consent request that S543 be discharged from the Transportation Committee and being placed on the calendar? I hear no objection. So ordered. Senator from Greenville, Senator Turner, what purpose do you rise, sir?
Purpose of an announcement.
You're recognized for an announcement for the Senate to be informed.
Just for the Senate Finance, Sales, and Income Tax Subcommittee, we will be meeting in room 207, 15 minutes upon adjournment.
Senate is so informed. Room 207, 15 minutes after adjournment. Senator from Lawrence, what purpose do you rise, sir?
I'd like to also make an announcement.
You're recognized for an announcement.
The Property Tax Subcommittee of Senate Finance meeting 30 minutes upon adjournment, room 105.
The Senate is so informed that the Property Tax Subcommittee will meet 30 minutes after adjournment in room 105. Senator from Horry, Senator Rankin, what purpose do you rise, sir?
Mr. President, announcement to the body.
You're recognized for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. President. Full judiciary will meet 15 minutes upon adjournment in 308.
Senate is so informed. Room 308, 15 minutes after adjournment, the Judiciary Committee will meet. Thank you, sir. Senator from Edgefield.
Mr. President, I want to see if there are any other announcements or unanimous consent requests to be made before we adjourn for the committee meetings that need to take place. If there are none,
Senator from Edgefield.
Mr. President, I move the Senate do now adjourn.
Motion is that the Senate do now adjourn. All those in favor would please say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The Senate will stand adjourned to meet at 1 p.m. tomorrow, Wednesday,